We're going to get started with our cake. You're going to start with 3/4 cups of room temperature butter. And it's pretty cold in my house, so we'll see how good it will mix up. This is a real easy recipe. You're going to use 1½ cups of sugar. There's a half. That makes a cup. And that makes 1½ cups. We're going to mix this until it's nice and fluffy. Then we'll start adding our eggs one at a time. All right. I think that's good and mixed. It was cold butter. Well, it wasn't cold butter, but it was butter at my room temperature is about 69 degrees. My eggs are so pretty. I wanted you guys to see them today. All my chickens are laying right now, so I've got every color, and that's the way it is always around Easter. So I've got olive, I've got blue, and then I've got 3 colors of cream. Aren't they beautiful? So we're going to crack these, and they're all different sizes. This cake does call for 6 eggs, which is a lot of eggs for a cake. It's not a pound cake. If you don't have a cookbook stand and you have one of the new cookbooks, they're wonderful to be able to sit in front of you and see the recipe as you're making it. I wouldn't want to live without mine, so if you need a good gift for Mother's Day, it's a great time to get one of these to go along with your Master Cookbook. All right, we're going to wipe this off. Now, if you get this mixer and you get these whisks, the only time you want to use a whisk is if you're fluffing up something like frosting, okay? So you wouldn't use this for a cake or cookies. Okay, we're going to start adding the eggs one at a time. All right, I get a lot of questions about my apron. This is a one-piece apron, and I thought it was a good time of year to show it to you in case you need a good Mother's Day gift or a gift for yourself. It is a one-piece. It's super easy to put on. I'm going to show you how I put it on. You just put your head through the middle. It's got straps like this, so you crisscross them in the middle to create your neck hole. You put your head through it, your arms through the other ones. And then you just straighten it up, bring it around, make sure it's fitting good. And there you have it. If you want to purchase one, they come in different colors, and you can find them on the website. Go to collardvalleycooks.com, hit the Shop Now tab at the top, go to Top Sellers. They will be in there. I believe I've got the red one pictured in there. Since that butter was not real soft, I'm going to have to help get it off the bottom, because it is packed in there now. And these eggs aren't mixing in good with it. All right, now let's try that. Now, I will say I can see the spots that were in my eggs in this mixture. So if you're making a white cake or a pound cake or something like that, you're going to want to take those out. But since we're making a chocolate cake today, I did not worry with it. But remember that tip as well. That only happens if you have fresh eggs. All right, now we're going to add our Hershey's syrup, the entire bottle. This is the liquid that this cake gets. It's all the liquid it gets. I'm going to have to shake it down and start squirting it out so that I have more pressure to finish off the bottle. Just shake it, put the cap on it, shake it, and then squeeze for the last of it, because you need that air pressure in there to get the last bit of Hershey syrup into the cake. Now, you got 1 1/2 cups of sugar, so it's getting 1 1/2 cups of flour. Let's start adding that. And you're going to mix it 2 minutes once you add the flour. You don't want to overmix the cake. How easy is that? I always take my finger and make sure all the flour's off the top of my beaters. And now we're going to add our vanilla and continue mixing it for about another minute. And that should be ready to pour. You're going to use a 13 by 9 baking dish, and I'm going to spray it with some baking spray. Let's get in our cake batter. Now, it's a pretty runny batter, so it does take about 40 minutes to completely get done. You're going to bake it the first 30 minutes at 350, then you're going to turn it down to 325 until a toothpick comes out clean. Put it right in the center of the oven on the middle rack. And do not check on it for at least 30 minutes because you don't want it to fall. And even then, be very careful because it's not going to be done right in the middle. If you're making a round layer, it would be done. But this cake I make in a sheet cake pan. You can see that we are going to use my favorite chocolate icing recipe, and I created a different one for a sheet cake, and that way you wouldn't make too much. All right, we're going to get started making this recipe, and you'll be able to look at the ingredients here on the left as I put them in the bowl. All right, you're going to start with 1 pound of powdered sugar, and I did weigh this to see how much was left in my bag, and it was exactly 1 pound, which was quite surprising. To this sugar, we are going to add 6 tablespoons of cocoa. Now, of course, I'm using Hershey's cocoa because that's my favorite. Here's a tip for you. Cocoa always makes such a mess on your wash rag that you're cleaning up the kitchen with that I typically try to clean up the spills from chocolate and cocoa with a paper towel, and that way it doesn't stain my wash rag. I know you can bleach your wash rag, and I do, but it still makes a mess. If you're enjoying this video, please give us a like. If you're new to the channel, please head down, hit that subscribe button, and click that bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded. All right, I tell you to whisk the cocoa and sugar together before you get started, and this way it helps get rid of like lumps of cocoa. You don't want your icing to look lumpy with little lumps of cocoa not being mixed in good. So I typically like to always mix my cocoa in with my powdered sugar, and I do the same thing with flour if cocoa is going to be added to cakes or brownies or something like that. All right, we're going to be using 3/4 cups of butter, and you're going to want to melt that. I don't think I put that in the recipe, so if you've got a recipe book, you might want to just note that the butter gets melted. We're going to melt this and come right back. All right, I do use salted butter as well. I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt. 5, 6. A teaspoon of vanilla. A teaspoon. It always makes sugar taste good. Anything sweet. You're going to use 6 tablespoons of cream, and I use evaporated milk. You can mix those if you want to. It's not mandatory. And now you're going to bring your dry ingredients back over here. You're going to pour your liquid ingredients into the dry ingredients. And you're going to mix them. Together. Now, you can add a 1/2 cup of chopped pecans. That's optional. If you like them, put them in there. If you kids don't like them or somebody's allergic to nuts, then of course you leave them out. This is a super easy recipe to make. It's easy to mix up, and it's not real thick, so that's one reason I love it for sheet cakes. Now you can add the nuts to it. I'm going to because I love them. So let's fold those in. My nuts have been in the refrigerator, so they're probably going to cool it down and make it look thicker, but then once it gets a little bit warmer, it will be fine. But remember what I said, these nuts are cold out of the refrigerator, so they may make it look thicker because they're just going to cool the icing down some. We're going to let this sit here on the counter until we get ready to ice our cake. And of course, your cake needs to be cool all the way before you ice it. Boy, that looks so yummy. I'll show y'all a close-up of it. All right, I'm going to put down a rag because if you let this rub up against this white, it always makes a mark. And then I have to clean it. All right, we're going to put our beautiful icing on here and cut us a piece of this delicious cake. I don't even know if I'll use it all. Chris would say the more the merrier. So I guess I can use it all. Put it all on here. Oh, that looks good. Looks delicious. Pretty sheet cake. And it rose up real good as well for the pan. There you have it. Alrighty, we're going to cut us a piece. I'm just going to use the same. And there you have it. My cake is cold. I put it in the freezer so that I could cool it down quick enough to share it with you guys. But it looks really yummy. I'm going to have to get me a tall glass of milk to have with this when we sign off. It is super moist. And you can really taste that Hershey syrup. It is absolutely delicious. I mean, delicious. We hope you enjoyed watching our Hershey syrup cake and my sheet cake icing. We'll see you next time on Collard Valley Cooks, where we cook like our mamas did. Bye, y'all. Love you so much. Bye.
See you next time.